We use it every single day to play games, we use it for online tutoring, and we use it for social media. I know it's quite addicting at times, but we begin to trust the internet enough, and where we actually begin to establish relationships online. You see, there's 3 types of relationships. You have one where such as systems like eHarmony, Match.com, the one we are so familiar with, FarmersOnly.com. These create a system where you take quizzes and they match you up with someone who fits your characteristics. And then you later on meet with them, later that week or even that day, to have a date. Then you have the second one, the webcam videos, such as Omegle, and where you scroll with different people from all over the globe. But the real difference between these two is that you don't get to touch them. You only get to hear and see them. And then the third one, the one I like to call relationship through keyboard, and where you don't get to see, touch, or even hear this individual on the other side of the screen. Well, coming back to an online podcast called This American Life, a segment called The Heart Wants What It Wants. And no, I'm not talking about a Selena Gomez song. The Heart Wants What It Wants is a segment created in mid-1980s about a man named Brian Anderson. He was a busy entrepreneur, young fellow, and he didn't have time to establish a relationship with a woman. So he stumbled upon a magazine ad, and where you could get love letters from a group of women that were in an orphanage in Puerto Rico. Yes, it sounds sketchy already. So he decided to do this. 3 days later, he got a letter from a woman named Emily. The handwriting is very feminine. The questions sounded like she really cared. But after a while, she started asking for money. And Brian he wanted to do anything he could do to help Emily. He began to fall in love with her. He donated money, and after 3 years, he wanted to meet Emily. He was so in love with her, he couldn't stand to be apart from her. But when he kept getting letters of excuses that, I can't meet you, they don't allow men in this orphanage, only women and children. He began to do some investigating. Until the next year, he found out that all of these letters that were created were actually written by a 65-year-old man. And he was doing this as a business. So he was getting thousands of dollars from not just Brian or his colleague, but from hundreds of men across America. So I guess you could say that Brian got catfished by a 65-year-old man. But the online relationships may seem a bit sketchy, but they actually do help people. For those who are afraid of commitment and restrictions, online dating allows them to have possibly even more than 13 relationships all at the same time. Or for the unfortunate condition of people who suffer from anthrophobia, which is the fear of society or social interaction with people, or even with themselves sometimes. Virtual relationships allow them to break the barrier and still have love, which we all crave and we still need, love and companionship. So, psychiatrist Terry Meyer from Portland, Oregon, states that relationships online are unhealthy. But who's to say that physical relationships aren't unhealthy? We're human. We all have our ups and downs, our good and bad days. So, who is to judge to say virtual relationships are unhealthy? But soon, when the love and the lust does come to an end, we all will experience, or have experienced it, the nerve-wracking and heart-wrenching experience, the breakup. Resulting to a Huffington Post article about the top 10 ways not to break up with someone, the main signals to avoid. The number one thing that came out was break up through email or via text. 65% of Americans, mainly male, from across America, had stated that they had broken up with a woman or a man through a text. And 35% of them were able to state that they only did online text or breakup because they were afraid of confrontation from their other partner. This is the absolute worst way to break up with someone, for a reason that it's very disrespectful. Second of all, it proves that you're a coward, that you're afraid of confrontation, that you don't want to see your partner's expressions. You don't want to give them time to contemplate or react. Going back to psychologist Terry Meyer, she states that 35% of her clients, not disclosing any names, that 35% of them had experienced breakup through text. And that's mainly the reason why they were attending her counseling. And 10% of those 35 men and women who experienced breakup had suicidal thoughts. They felt that since their partner broke up with them through text and email, that they were trash, that they were invaluable, and that the whole relationship was worthless. So virtual relationships are all in preference, physical preference. But choosing to break up with someone online is a moral choice that can be lethal. Thank you.